Are you gonna play scary sounds?
No.
I thought it's almost Halloween. Maybe we were gonna be able to. I noticed some of the decorations.
Yeah, well, it is a Halloween show. It is a Halloween show.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not going to be,
Yeah. My daughter just bought me this one. Notice the keyboard that open. Only because yeah, well, my son, I bought my key, my phone, my keys are right here. These keys
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me okay back there? Beautiful. Our performer today is Barbara Wyking. Barbara has pursued an extensive and wide-ranging career in entertainment. Born and raised in Cleveland, that's in Ohio, she has performed at the Burt Reynolds Dinner Theater, Theater by the Sea, and Walt Disney World's Hoop-Dee-Doo Revue. She spent 6 years performing on cruise ships, venturing throughout the 7 seas. Since moving to Pennsylvania with her husband, Nick Dunn, Barbara continues to create, produce, and perform various one-woman shows throughout the Delaware Valley area. And now, please welcome Gomez and Morticia from the Addams Family to introduce you to the memories of the night. Oh, Morticia.
Gomez, darling.
Oh, cara mia.
Je t'aime, mon ami. Boubala.
Welcome to Memories of the Night.
Softly. Deftly.
Everybody was so
Music shall caress you. Hear it. Feel it. Secretly possess you. Open up your mind. Let your fantasies unwind. In this darkness, you know you cannot fight. The darkness of the memories of the night.
They're classy and they're sassy. perhaps a little trashy, with voices oh so brassy, the memories of the night.
Slowly, gently, night unfurls its splendor. Grasp it, kiss it, tremulous and tender. Hearing is believing, music is deceiving. Hard as lightning, soft as candlelight. Listen to the memories of the night.
It's a show museum when people come to see them. They really are a stream, the memories of the night. Neat. Sweet. Not petite. So put a witch's shawl on, a broomstick you can crawl on. We're gonna make a call on the memories.
Welcome to the memories of the night.
This, our show, The Addams Family, only lasted 2 years, from 1964 to 1966. I think it's because people got us confused with that other grotesque family, the Munsters. They were grotesque women who acted normal. We were totally normal. Well, maybe a little eccentric. Now, our show was canceled way too soon. And our show today is about superstars who lost their lives way too soon. Just like our show. In their honor, I have written a short poem. Would everyone like to hear my poem?
Yeah.
Of course you would. When Buddy and Patsy decided to fly, they both disappeared into a menacing sky. Roy and Cass were go, 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 till their hearts gave out right after a show. Karen suffered from severe attrition, caused, of course, by a lack of nutrition. Alcohol was Janice's fatal choice. At 27, it stole her voice. Rheumatic fever took Bobby to heaven at the tender age of 37. And old John Denver, well, he just ran out of gas. Even George Burns couldn't save his ass. Now, it's not for us to question their choices, but merely enjoy their marvelous voices. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to a young lady who needs no introduction, but whose mysterious death is still under discussion.
Ooh. Happy Halloween to you. Happy Halloween to you. Ooh. Happy Halloween, everybody. Happy Halloween. Haunted Halloween to you. Everybody, happy Halloween. I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you, alone, boo-boo-dee-doo. I wanna be kissed by you, just you,
I'm going to have to keep Gomez away from that. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nick Dunn, and I will be your MC for this afternoon's show. You know, when Barb and I decided to do a show about superstars that died too young, whose careers ended way too soon, it occurred to me that I, too, had a show business career that was cut terribly short. Let me take you back to 1967. My best friend and I are going to go to Hawaii. Now, he's going to go into the Peace Corps, so his training will be on Molokai. I went to Oahu, and I immediately got a job with the Hawaii Five-0 TV show. I was an extra. All I had to do all day long was walk around with gorgeous women. It was the best job I ever had in my life. And one day, the director, he comes to me and he says, Nick, would you like to try for a speaking part? And I said, heck no, I love this job. He said, listen, if you get this job, we'll pay you $101 a day instead of $27.15. I said, what do I have to do? So he gives me this line to read, and wouldn't you know, the line had the word water. So I read the line, and without missing a beat, the guy looks at me and he says, hey, we're not looking for the Philly effect here, son. I gotta tell you, I read that line at least 10 times, and I could not get the word water to come out water and be believable. So there you have it, a perfectly good career dead in the water. But here I am back again, what, 10, 15 years later? Doing the same thing, back in show business. Our next superstar, Robert Walden Casado. Anybody? Robert's walking down the street in New York City with his mom, and he looks up and he sees a Mandarin Chinese restaurant sign in neon with the M, the A, and the N all burned out. All that's left is D-A-R-I-N. And he says to his mother, I'm going to take that as my stage name. Bobby Darin is born. Now, Bobby Darin was kind of like a four-sport athlete, if you will. He had four really distinct careers. First, he was a songwriter for his then girlfriend, Connie Francis, at the Brill Building in New York City. Second, he was a rock and roller. That's where I knew him. Dream, Lover, Splish Splash, all the rock songs. And third, I don't know whether you knew this or not, but he was one heck of an actor. He was nominated twice for Golden Globe Awards, but then in 1962, he actually won an Oscar. Best Supporting Actor in a movie called Captain Newman, M.D. And finally, Bobby wanted that Vegas career. He wanted to be Elvis, Sinatra, all those Vegas acts. He wanted to be Sinatra in the worst way. Here's Bobby Darin and his signature song, Mac the Knife. Bobby?
The shark, babe, has such teeth, dear, and shows them really white. Just a jackknife has on the teeth, babe, and he keeps it out of sight. You know, when that shark bites with his teeth, babe, scarlet billows start to spread. Fancy gloves, ooh, where's old Markeith, mama? So there's never a trace of red on the sidewalk. Sunday morning, lies a body just oozing life. Eek! Someone's
Suki Tawdry, lay back, Lottie Lenya, not to mention old Lucy Brown. Oh, the line forms on the right, mama. Now that Mackie's back in town. I said, Jenny Dollar, look out, Suki Tawdry, lay back to Lottie Lenya. Hello to Miss Lucy Brown. Oh, the line forms on the right, babe. Now that Mackie is back in town. Look out, old Mac is back.
Thank you, Bobby. Now, folks, we're going to do a 3-song set called The Plain Truth. Why the plain truth? Because all 3 of our next stars died in plane crashes. And the truth is, none of them should have. Now, I'm a pilot, and I can tell you that today, the FAA wouldn't let any of these people off the ground. Let's start with Buddy Holly. Now, Buddy's in New York City, and he's going to do this thing called the Winter Dance Tour. He's going to go across the country with a lot of other stars, and they're going to stop at various cities and do concerts. Well, I got to tell you, folks, in those days, concert promoters were extremely cheap. They sent these guys out in a yellow school bus. By the time they got to Clear Lake, Iowa, they had gone through 7 school buses. Now, the last one was fine, ran good, but it didn't have any heat. That's the middle of winter in Iowa. When they get to Clear Lake, they had to put their drummer in the hospital with frostbitten feet. Now, the concert went off without a hitch. It was great. But after the concert's over, Holly says to his mates, I don't know about you guys, but I am not getting back on that airplane or in that bus. I've rented an airplane, and I'm going to fly to the next location. I'm going to get myself a motel room. I'm going to get some sleep, and I'm going to get warm. Richie Valens and the Big Bopper were the only 2 that could come up with the $36 it took to get on the plane. Next, he goes out to the airport to meet his pilot. Now, his pilot is 19-year-old Roger Peterson. Holly's 22 at the time. And then he looks over, and he sees his airplane. It's a 1947 V-tail Beach Bonanza. It's a metal plane. It has no de-icing equipment. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's starting to snow. Now, wouldn't you think one of these guys would have said, hey, Roger, you got any experience flying in this kind of stuff? Can you fly at night? Well, the truth is he couldn't fly at all because he did not have an instrument rating. So he wasn't allowed to fly in bad weather. He was allowed to fly at night, but not in this terrible weather. He went up anyway. The wings iced up in less than a minute, and they went down in a cornfield at the end of the runway. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paramount Theater here in New York City. Tonight, we are going to do something a little bit different. Tonight, we are going to have our first rock and roll show. Now, I know you're not used to this rock and roll music. I'm not either. But we better get used to it, or the kids are going to call us a bunch of squares. So how about it? Let's have a big hand for our first rock and roll star, Mr. Buddy Holly.
If you knew
Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue. Oh, how my heart yearns for you. Oh, Peggy, my Peggy Sue. I love you, girl, and I need you, Peggy Sue. Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue. Pretty, 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 pretty Peggy Sue. Oh, Peggy, my Peggy Sue. I love you, girl, and I need you, Peggy Sue. Oh, well, I love you, girl, and I want you, Peggy Sue.
Buddy Holly. Next, John Denver. Now, John Denver was totally different than anybody else because he was the pilot of his own plane. John Denver was so experienced, he could fly anything from a glider to a jet. He was rated in just about every plane on the planet. Now, he's going to buy a new airplane. It's called a Very Easy. It's made by the Rutan brothers of Phoenix, Arizona. And it's sent to your house in a box. And you're supposed to put it together in your garage. It takes about 2,000 hours. Only holds one person. Well, Denver doesn't have the inclination to build his own airplane. So he goes over to the Central Valley of California and he buys one that's already made. He flies over the Coast Range, down over Clint Eastwood's house, over Monterey Bay, and then he goes down the coast for about a 30-minute sightseeing trip. Great plane for sightseeing. You can get down real low, you can see everything. And then he turns around after about 30 minutes, and he comes back, and he's going to go across Monterey Bay, line up, and do some touch and goes to test out his plane. Well, now a big crowd has formed on the ground because they've heard that Denver is going to be there testing his plane. So the people on the ground say, here he comes. He's coming across the bay at 800 feet. That's pattern altitude. Very easy to see. And all of a sudden, halfway across the bay, the plane's straight up in the air, goes about 50 feet up and drops right down into Monterey Bay. Nobody knew what was wrong. He was a great pilot. But they think they figured it out the next day when they brought the plane up from the bottom of Monterey Bay. He was out of gas. He was out of gas in his right wing tank. Now that's not a big deal because every airplane has two wing tanks, one in each wing. In my airplane, the switchover valve from one tank to the other is right here in the middle of the dash, right in front of you. You can't miss it. But on a Very Easy, it's bolted to the pilot's seat, right between his legs. So Denver reaches out to switch it over. He knows it's not a big deal, but there's nothing there. There's no switchover valve. They figured that he kind of panicked because he knew he was out of gas, and he started looking for this thing. And he's looking all over the cockpit. And he finally found it. It's bolted to his chair over his left shoulder with a pair of vice grips. The guy never finished the job and he never told him where it was. So they figure what happened was when he found it, in his panic, he reached for it, inadvertently pulled the stick back, the plane shot straight up in the air and stalled, went right down in Monterey Bay. What a silly, silly mistake for such an experienced pilot. When I heard that story, I thought to myself, couldn't you just hear the conversation in the cockpit between John Denver and George Burns from the Oh God movie? Oh God, where is that switchover valve? Well, it's behind your left shoulder, John, but it's a little late now. Ladies and gentlemen, that country boy himself, Mr. John Denver.
He was born in the summer of his 27th place he'd never been before. Left yesterday behind him, you might say he was born again. You might say he found a key to every door. But the Colorado Rocky Mountain High, I've seen it rain in fire in the sky. Shadow from the starlight is softer than a lullaby. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. All right, now, you know the words to this one. Sing along. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze. Country road, take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road, take me home. Country road.
And finally, Miss Patsy Cline. Now, Patsy's in Kansas City, and she's doing a concert for a fellow rocker who has died in a car crash. She's with a bunch of other stars. And after the concert's over, she's going to fly back to Memphis, or Nashville. She has her own plane. She's not her own pilot. Her manager, Randy Hughes, is her pilot. But everybody says, Patsy, you can't fly back to Nashville in this kind of weather. It was raining, it was foggy, cloudy, it was terrible. You got to get in a car and ride back with us. She said, well, I'm not getting in a car and riding 14 hours back to Nashville. I'm going to fly. But I'll tell you what, I'll wait 24 hours before I go up. The next night, it was just as bad. But they went up. But in those days, the FAA did have an exception. If you could stay under the weather and see 1,000 feet ahead of you, you could go up. And we know that's exactly what Hughes did, because he put down for gas just over the Tennessee border. But then he went up again. And this time he went into the clouds and slammed right into the side of a mountain. And Hughes, just like Roger Peterson, was not an instrument-rated pilot. He was a visual pilot. He was not legally allowed to go up in this kind of weather. Patsy Cline died in March of 1963. In October of 62, right around Halloween, her friends said she started getting kind of strange. They thought she might be a little psychic. She told them she didn't expect to live much longer. She wrote a new will, started giving away her stuff. She even made plans with two of her friends to take care of her two kids should anything happen to her. Pretty spooky. Here's Patsy Cline doing that song that Willie Nelson wrote just for her, Crazy.
crazy. I'm crazy for feeling so lonely. I'm crazy, crazy for feeling so blue. I knew you'd love me as long as you wanted, and then someday you'd leave me for somebody new. Worry, why do I let myself worry? Wondering what in the world did I do? Oh, crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for crying and crazy for trying, and I'm crazy for loving you. Crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for crying and crazy for trying, and I'm crazy for loving you.
I'll explain in a minute. Our next set is called What If? What if Janis Joplin didn't like that Southern comfort quite so much? And what if Mama Cass didn't like her groceries quite so much? And what if Karen Carpenter liked them a little bit more? Let's start with Janis Joplin. Now, Janis Joplin was born in Texas. She and I had a couple of things in common. In high school, her friends said she was a very good musician. She could sing, play the guitar, but she was also an extremely good artist. They said she was very artsy-fartsy. In high school, my friends said I was very fartsy. In 1969, I moved to San Francisco. In 1967, she moved to San Francisco. Now, she hooked up with a garage band called Big Brother and the Holding Company, took them right straight to the top. I am not going to tell you who I hooked up with. Now, Janis loved this thing in San Francisco at Halloween called the Exotic Erotic Ball. This is another thing we had in common. I loved it too. It was a costume party for about 25,000 people held at the Cow Palace. It was fantastic. You've never seen so many outfits. I always wanted to meet Janis Joplin at the Exotic Erotic Ball. I looked for her all the time when I went. Never saw her, never met her. Fast forward a couple of years, my brother's turning 50 years old. So for his 50th birthday present, I fly him to San Francisco, and I take him to the Exotic Erotic Ball. I dress him in this hat, this mask, mustache, these wings, this vest, and a pair of chaps, and I took him as a Spanish fly. He loved it. Now in San Francisco, I was a bar manager of a singles bar called Henry Africa's. And one night this guy comes in and he says, Nick, he said, you want to go to a party out at the Panhandle at Grace Slick's house? She was the lead singer of the Jefferson Airplane at the time. And he said, Janis Joplin is going to be there. I know her, and I'm going to introduce you to her. So I said, oh, man, yeah, I want to go. So I go to the party. There's no Grace Slick there. No Janis Joplin. Great party, give you that. But who would have thought? I would have had to wait till this afternoon to meet Janis Joplin.
I'm busted flat in Baton Rouge. I'm waiting for a train. I'm feeling near as faded as my jeans. And Bobby thumbs the diesel down just before it rains and rode us all the way to New Orleans. Well, I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana. I'm playing soft while Bobby sang the blues. Windshield wipers flapping time, and I'm holding Bobby's hand in mine. We sang every song that driver knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing. It ain't nothing, honey, if it ain't free. Feeling good was easy, Lord, when he sang the blues. You know, feeling good was good enough for me. Was good enough for me and my Bobby Maggie. Yeah, la-da-da-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-da-da-da-da-da, Bobby Maggie. La-da-da-di-da-da, la-di-da-di-da, la-da-da-da-da-da, Bobby Maggie, yeah, la-da-da, la-da-da-da-da-da, la-di-da, la-di-da-da-da-da-da-da, yeah, Bobby McGee, yeah, la-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da-da, la-di-da-da-da-da-da, yeah, Bobby McGee, yeah. Lord, I call him my lover, I call him my man, I said I call him my lover, it's the best I can, come on, it's a Bobby Moan, it's a Bobby McGee, yeah. Yeah, 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 Bobby McGee, yeah. That's why I wanted to meet her. Gee. You know, folks, I try to find something funny about all these folks. They're just like we are. But I have to tell you, I could not find one thing funny about the Karen Carpenter story. Now, I think everybody knows somebody or knows somebody who has an eating disorder. When I first moved to San Francisco, I swam at the Y. Right next to me, almost every day, there was a woman that couldn't have weighed more than 70 pounds. I knew there was something wrong, but what do you say to a complete stranger? I mean, do you go up and say, eat more? So I said nothing. But Karen Carpenter, she had tons of people saying stuff to her. Her brother, her parents, her manager, her band, the public. Everybody told her she had a problem. But Karen Carpenter died at 32 years old of anorexia. She was one of these stars that we almost never got to see because she started her career as a drummer. She was a really good drummer. She was in the Richard Carpenter Trio. Her brother had 2 trios. Fortunately for us, neither trio went anywhere. So one day Richard says to himself, you know what? I'm getting rid of the trio.
I'm going to take Karen. I'm going to bring her out front. I'm going to make her my lead singer. I'm going to write the songs. I'm going to play them here on my piano. And that's the way we're going to do it from now on. That was a pretty good move because their first song, Close to You, sold 1 million copies right away. Now, Richard didn't write that. Burt Bacharach wrote that. But still, the Carpenters were born. One day, one of the guys that was in his trio said to him, you know what, Richard? I don't hold any grudges. I think what you did with Karen was the smartest thing you ever did, because when Karen sings, it's like having your own little angel sitting on your shoulder, singing in your ear. Ladies and gentlemen, the angel of the 70s, Miss Karen Carpenter.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Why do stars fall down from the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they long to be close to you. On the day that you were born, the angels got together, decided to create a dream come true. So they sprinkled moon dust in your hair and golden starlight in your eyes of blue. And that is why all the girls in town follow you all around. Just like me, they long to be close to you. Just like me, they long to be close to you.
And finally, Ellen Naomi Cohen. Anybody? Mama Cass Elliot. Now, Mama Cass is the owner of the most stubborn urban legend on the planet, the ham sandwich. The other day I was talking to a guy at work, and he said, well, who are some of the people you do? And I said, well, she does Mama Cass. And he said, oh, I know her. She was that chick that died eating a ham sandwich. Here's what really happened. Cass was doing 2 weeks of sold-out performances at the London Palladium. She was staying at the flat of a guy named Harry Nielsen in London. After the last night, she went back to the flat, dead tired, hungry, so she made herself half a ham sandwich. She immediately died of a massive heart attack. Here's how the legend got started. 2 cops show up. One guy kneels down over the body, and the other guy goes out in the kitchen and he says, hey, I think she died choking on a ham sandwich. We know that that was totally untrue, because the next day they did an autopsy and they didn't find a ham sandwich. They found nothing. She hadn't eaten in hours, days. Her stomach was empty. But the urban legend persists. In The Mamas and the Papas, one of the guys, Denny Doherty, wrote an autobiography. And he said, you know, in The Mamas and the Papas, Cass Elliot had by far the best voice. But the funny thing was that after a concert, after a show, she was the one that got the most business cards and keys thrown up on the stage. Go figure. Here's Mama Cass doing her signature song, Dream a Little Dream of Me.
Stars shining bright above you, night breezes seem to whisper I love you, birds singing in the sycamore tree, dream a little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me, just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you, sweet dreams that leave all worries far behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you, sweet dreams that leave all worries far behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da. What's this? Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. See you later, honey.
Our last set is called Who's On First? No, we're not doing Abbott and Costello. This is a musical Who's On First. Who goes on first and who goes on second? Let me take you to Las Vegas, Nevada. They're going to have a big, huge show at a casino, and the headliner is going to be Elvis Presley. The owner of the hotel says, hey, I would like to make this the biggest show in Vegas history. I heard that Roy Orbison is in town. Let's get him to open for Elvis. So they do. And it's a huge show, huge success. Everybody is totally happy, except for one Elvis Presley. He sends his manager, Colonel Parker, up to the office of the casino manager. Sits down with him and he says, listen, he says, Elvis loves Roy Orbison. He thinks he's got the greatest voice. He told me he thinks Roy Orbison's got the best voice in rock and roll today. That's why he never wants him to open for him again. Now let's go to Glasgow, Scotland. Now in Europe, Roy Orbison is just as big a star as Elvis is here. So he goes on second. But he finds out that the group that's going to open for him, that goes on first, has been getting a lot of press. Haven't been in the United States yet, but they've been getting a lot of press in England. So he says to himself, you know what? I'm not going to let the Beatles upstage me. I'm going to go on first. Now, he's the big star. He can do whatever he wants. So he goes on first. In his autobiography, Ringo Starr said, here we were. we're backstage and we're watching this guy. He's hunched over his guitar, got a pair of sunglasses on, and he's just singing. He's not jumping around or dancing or doing anything. He's just strumming that guitar and singing into the mic. But the fans are going crazy. They love this guy. After the 14th encore, 14, he goes backstage. Lennon and McCartney jump on him, hold him down until the MC can announce the Beatles. True story. Now, Roy Orbison is here with us tonight, but no, he's not doing 14 encores. But he has brought along one pretty woman. Roy?
Pretty woman walking down the street, pretty woman, the kind I'd like to meet, pretty woman. I don't believe you're not the truth. No one could look as good as you. Mercy. Pretty woman, won't you pardon me, pretty woman? Couldn't help but see, pretty woman. You look lovely as can be. Are you lonely just like me? Pretty woman, stop a while. Pretty woman, talk a while. Pretty woman, give your smile to me. Pretty woman, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty woman, look my way. Pretty woman, say you'll stay with me. 'Cause I need you, I'll treat you right. Come to me, baby, be mine tonight. Pretty woman, don't walk on by. Pretty woman, don't make me cry. Pretty woman, don't walk away. Hey, okay. If that's the way, it must be okay. I guess I'll go on home. It's late. There'll be tomorrow night. Wait, what do I see? Yeah, she's walking back to me. Yeah, she's walking back to me. Whoa, pretty woman.
And now the aforementioned Elvis Presley. Now, I know there's got to be somebody in this audience that saw the 1956 Ed Sullivan Waist Up show with Elvis Presley. I saw it. My grandmother had the only TV in my family. So my sister was 15 at the time, and she begged my mother to let her go up to Nana's house and watch Elvis on the Ed Sullivan show. She said, okay. And I was 11 at the time, and I said, you are not going up there without me. So after the show's over, I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is a little 11-year-old pea-brain thinking here. I'm thinking to myself, you know what, if they don't show this guy, they refused to show this guy below his waist. He must have something really special down there. My mom said, wow, he's really a good-looking guy. And when he sings in those low registers, man, he can really sing. But I hate to tell you this, Nick. This rock and roll stuff, never gonna last. And now let's go to La Crosse, Wisconsin. Elvis has done a concert there. Teenagers everywhere. Everybody had a ball, except for the La Crosse Catholic Archdiocese. They were, to put it mildly, angry. They dashed off a telegram to J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI. And I just happen to have a copy of that, and I'm going to read it to you. Quote, Elvis Presley is definitely a danger to the security of the United States. His actions and motions were such as to arouse the sexual passions of the teenage youth. After the show, more than 1,000 teens tried to gang into his dressing room right here at the auditorium. Indications of the harm Presley did right here in La Crosse, where the two high school girls whose abdomen and thigh he autographed. I'll bet you $100 those girls still have those autographs. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Elvis Presley, and he's all shook up.
Bless my soul, what's wrong with me? I'm itching like a man on a fuzzy tree. My friends say I'm acting wild as a bug. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Home, 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 home. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, my hand is shaking, my knees are weak. I can't seem to stand on my own 2 feet. Now who do you thank when you have such luck? I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Home, 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 home. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please don't ask me what was on my mind. I'm a little mixed up, but I feel fine when I'm with the girl that I love best. My heart beats so it scares me to death. She touched my hand with a thrill I got. Her lips are like a volcano that's hot. I'm proud to say she's my buttercup. I'm in love. I'm all shook up. Home, 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 home. Yeah, 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 yeah. Home, 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 home. Yeah, yeah. I'm all shook up. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You believe it? Janis Joplin and Elvis Presley on the same stage. Before we end tonight, I have some thank yous. First, I'd like to thank Steve Wheat for having us. Is Steve here? Nope. Steve for having us. I'd like to thank Chloe Eisman, who does our music. I always thank my mother when we do these shows because she was one of my favorites. She was the smartest person I ever met. After all, she's the one that said rock and roll would never last. And finally, I'd like to thank you, the audience. Now, I know you go to shows and the MC or the piano player or the singer or whatever says you've been a great audience, give yourselves a hand, but I never thought that was enough. So I wrote you a thank you poem. For you, we rehearsed quite a bit, so much that I nearly quit. Then you came and spent money and laughed and were funny, so without you, we're not worth a sh. Thank you all for coming. I hope you had as good a time as we did. But as you can probably tell, we don't do it for the money. And finally, in this particular show, I have some special thank yous. John Denver, 53. Roy Orbison, 52. Judy Garland, 47. Elvis Presley, 42. Marilyn Monroe and Bobby Darin, both 37. Cass Elliot and Karen Carpenter, both 32. Patsy Cline, 31. Janis Joplin, 27. And Buddy Holly, 22. I got socks older than that. We miss them all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it seems like the Wicked Witch is not dead. Now, Judy Garland and I have one thing in common. She came over the rainbow back to Kansas, and I came over the rainbow from California back to Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And I gotta tell you, she was totally right. There is no place like home. Here's Judy Garland doing the song that she ended every live performance with, Over the Rainbow.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh why can't I? Our Master of Ceremonies, Nick Dunn.
Chloe Iceman is us on music. A big hand for Barbara Wycamp and her memories of the night sky. Give yourselves a big hand. You're a great audience. We love coming here.
Happy
It's our
Halloween.
third trip. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll excuse me, I have to go backstage and help Marilyn Monroe with her next costume change. Thank you so much.
It's